Hello, folks. This is Semi Bird, candidate for the Richland School Board, Position 3. I wanted to take a few minutes this afternoon to discuss with you one of the greatest threats that our nation and our community faces today. And that threat is the social justice program known as critical race theory. Critical race theory, well, it's a hot topic, and people are trying to discover and discuss what it is, what it isn't. Are we going to see it in our schools? Are we not going to see it in our schools? Well, let's take a moment to kind of understand it. Let's talk a little bit about what it is. I'll tell you what it is. Critical race theory is a Marxist anti-American initiative that is intended to divide our nation along racial lines. Now you have to ask yourself, what good does that do for society? What good would that do for our children? Well, we can discuss that later. But here's what it is as well. It is a victim behavior that places blame and asserts no accountability or responsibility. It compromises the American way of life, and I'll tell you why. Let's explore the 5 tenets of critical race theory. Tenet number 1 asserts that our society and the United States of America is corrupt and racist. American society is systemically racist. Well, you understand that a system without people is nothing. So if you're asserting that our systems are racist, what do you think you're asserting? That's right, that the people who operate those systems are racist. Number 2, historical contextualization. This assertion is to ensure that citizens, and apparently now children, understand that history was written in a biased format to ensure the domination of white racial lines, white supremacists, over people black and brown. Apparently that's important to understand. Well, I don't think it's true whatsoever. Number 3, racial equality. Dr. Derek Bell, who's been considered the grandfather of critical race theory, wrote in 1980 the theory or the concept of interest conversions. Interest conversions asserts this, that when something is done to benefit black people by white people, it's done only to really benefit white people. Essentially, white people only do positive things for black people when it's beneficial for them. So his theory asserts that when the interests of blacks overlap with the interests of whites, things happen. But you heard that first part. It's only happening not for the benefit of black people, but for the benefit of white people. Here's number 4, counter storytelling. Counter storytelling is a CRT tool that is used to bring awareness to white privilege. And you've heard this phrase being used quite a bit over the last year and a half. White privilege. This is to assert that people who were born white automatically have an advantage and a privilege over someone who's born black or brown. It almost seems racist in itself, where we start to make assumptions of a person based on their color. I'll leave that up to you to decide. And lastly, critical race theory asserts this notion that the United States is a melting pot, even though that we are the most diverse nation in the world, is false. This concept that people, regardless of your race, creed, color, or preference, can achieve success is false, or should be questioned at the bare minimum. I want to give you some examples as to why this is not true. Recent examples. Number 1, not too long ago, we elected and re-elected the first black president in the history of the United States of America. Just this last year, our first female vice president in the history of this nation was a woman of color. How could that happen in a country that is systemically racist? I'll leave that to you to discuss amongst yourselves. But what I want to tell you is this. When people are telling you, we're not going to bring critical race theory to our students, ask yourselves this. Why are we bringing it to our teachers and our administrators in our own school district right now? This is the same thing that they did in higher education. They brought it in to professors and higher education administrators. Now it has been institutionalized in higher education as approved curriculum. Folks, if you do not think that they're going to bring that to the city of Richland, to our Richland School District, you have another thing coming. If I'm put on the board, if you elect me, I assure you I will do whatever I can, collaborating and working through our school board members to ensure that this doesn't happen. But that is to say, we have to think about who's going to be in the school board. You have several candidates running for the Richland School Board this year, and I'm going to give you three. Myself, Audra Bird, and Ben Griggs. I refer to the three of us as the trifecta of transformational change. I support and I endorse Audra. I support and I endorse Ben. And I think between the three of us, we will work well together, and we will ensure that our parents, that our students will always have a voice. We will ensure that that silent majority of wonderful people who work in our school system will be represented equally. Those teachers, those workers in our cafeterias, those bus drivers, those janitors that are often forgotten. You will have a voice and you will be heard. Most importantly, we will ensure that the curriculum that is put into our system is curriculum that is appropriate for our children, that empowers our children, that inspires and builds motivation and resiliency in our children, that does not divide and bring victim behaviors to our children. There is no benefit to that. Go to my website, semibird.us, learn a little bit about me. Go to my Facebook page, Semibird for Richland School Board. Learn a little bit about me. I post the 5 tenets of critical race theory right out of the book, Critical Race Theory. Delgado, Stefancic, Harris, 2017. There's your citation. Look it up. God bless you, Richland, and we'll talk to you soon.